What is happening, world? I like to cover systems, processes, and how they work. It's quite interesting when you think about it. Everything you interact with is basically a part of another system. Have a look at your computer, the internet, electricity, food, supply lines, petrol, what else? Just think your mobile internet service provider, cryptocurrencies, and even politics, how people come into power, and I guess global trends, and you can just go from there. Even the nature of space itself arguably is a system. I'll put some background music on. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike. I find this song very soothing. It explains the cryptocurrency market as it currently is now, basically. If you're following Richard Hart, like the guy in cryptocurrency who's predicted things that have come to fruition, warned us all to take our crypto out of middlemen, not your keys, not your coins, Anyway, there was a stream on, so I woke up and doing the apple cider vinegar challenge, listen to some beats, watching an interview, and then I might do the chain analysis 101. Basically, it's pretty good so far. I've only done the first course, and it's condensing everything that took me months and months to learn, analyzing HEXicans basically, and learning different tools and apps that can be used. Now, we have basically a global event, supply line issues, food supply issues, and global war, global famine. We see Sri Lanka basically setting up security forces because they're going out of control. They've got no food, they've got no fuel. They're reaching a breaking point. The system no longer functions. They're no longer keeping their people happy. They're no longer providing them with the needs that the basic living needs. And then when that is not met, chaos can consume. You see here in the first world, generally we have running water, we have food, we have fuel, we have the means to survive quite comfortably, because if the first world is thriving, the third world is surviving. We see starvation taking place, whereby food shortages in the West and in the first world basically directly affects the third world. So the opposite is true to what I said just before. Now we can see this spreading to countries like Panama. We see there was weeks. This article is only, I think, 2 days old now, but where is it? Yeah, 21st. Basically, there was protests, there's food shortages, there's fuel shortages. Now, being a HEXican, we're part of like a global community, I would call it, another system in place. Maybe we're here to break the matrix, maybe we're not, who knows. But we can see through human intelligence, basically there's a fellow HEXican in Panama, and that he's explaining that you have to download an app to get your digital identity to get your fuel. Now, in Australia, we do have a similar app system. Funnily enough, that's where your vaccine passport, your vaccine status is kept. And if you have a look at the app, you'll notice there's room for more than 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 jabs. There's a never-ending section on that screen where more dates could be entered in. So who knows how many jabs are going to be coming. And then moving from there, you can imagine a similar situation in countries like Australia, whereby you might need an app to purchase things. And how would that be rolled out? It would probably be rolled out through a digital currency, a central bank digital currency, whereby the bank literally puts you under their control through the means of no longer fiat, but digital fiat. We do see a good thing, because talking about systems, changing gear, you look at Ukraine and Russia and the conflict going on there. Not to mention, the talk of like rolling in jets for Ukraine to further stoke the walls of fire, supporting the military-industrial complex, which is basically the backbone of every modern nation. If you look at GDP and how Keynesian economics works, you're trying to fill that gap, whether we know it or not. We have talks of the food, the grain, being able to, leave the port because basically it was held up there and that fed a lot of the world. Very, very unnerving times if you have a look at that particular system. If you look at other systems though, like pulse chain coming, it is more positive. This was an interesting one. We see more and more screen time basically can be damaging our eyes. Now, I know myself, I'm quite, I do this a lot. I use a lot of screens right now. There's about 4 or 5 screens in front of me, not including multiple phones. Not the best, system to place yourself into if you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle. So maybe we all need to get away from the computers, just go for a walk and, have a look at some trees in nature or into the sky. Have a look at some birds or something, who knows. But it's interesting when, like who was it? It might be Bill Gates, the people that design these sorts of systems, even the guy who designed Apple, Steve Jobs, I'm pretty sure they tend to not have their kids immersed in such virtual backgrounds, but yet the wonderful message that's being sold to all of us consumers is we need like virtual reality, we need Web3, we need all this screen time to be a more effective human being, when it's like the literal opposite of what we're designed probably to be, in my opinion. Because think about it, even the productions of human, is that not a system to analyze? How do you make a healthy human? Do you put them in this environment or this environment, and you run those two parallel, and which one would produce a more healthy human?